Hey guys, so I'm back here, doing what started it all. You've asked for me back in proper form, so here I am. Um, you're gonna have to excuse me. It's like a trillion degrees here in Nova Scotia. It's ridiculously hot. I know you Americans think that we live in igloos and stuff like that. No, it Eastern Canada gets sweltering hot. Anyway, look, this is Hollywood Rape. This is all about Hollywood Rape. Okay, so you, I get a little bit of enjoyment out of listening to your comments about Batman: The Dark Knight. You know that's one thing. Okay, James Bond. Seriously, look, I I griped you about only knowing the film series for Batman and not being a fan of the comics outside of the gothy shit that you seem to be into. But if you truly think that Daniel Craig is one of the worst Bonds on film, you're crazy. Have you read any of Broccoli's novels? There's no way you could. Daniel Craig, outside of his outward appearance, he is the personification of Robert Broccoli's James Bond. Look, you want to know what really sucks? It's this piss poor shit you Americans try to pass off for beer. Really? Look, you want to try real beer? Drink Canadian. The 2 fours were on sale for like $39 here. You know. Anyway, oh, I get why people are hesitant towards the idea of 007 Legends. It's the same reason why people are hesitant towards the remake of GoldenEye, which I am too, by the way. I am. The remake, it's big shoes to fill. But I went back not too long ago to replay GoldenEye on the N64. The controls are nuts. Strafing with the C buttons, looking up and down with the C buttons, moving around and looking. Oh my god, is it terrible! Great game, and I remember the experience fondly, but it just doesn't fit right. And a lot of you people are acting like they're just cutting out the original images of the original Bonds that portrayed these roles and putting Daniel Craig in them. No, they're actually cutting out the entirety of these movies, and they're retailoring these classic movies to fit in this current universe. It's not that they're trying to force Craig down our throats. They're doing this because Craig's movies are marketable. Craig is a marketable Bond. He is the Bond. I love Sean Connery. Sean Connery will always be my favorite Bond, but he's not James Bond from the Broccoli movies. Yes, he's suave and sophisticated and all that stuff. He has some of the right lines, but a lot of these movies were just all about the cheese factor. They were. I mean, Man with the Golden Gun, Goldfinger, Doctor No, Thunderball, Octopussy. A lot of these were good movies. I actually like all of them. I think the one that I liked least was probably On Her Majesty's Secret Service. If I'm not mistaken, that was Lazenby. Um, I didn't hate Lazenby either. I think he's very underrated as a Bond. I personally can't stand Pierce Brosnan, although GoldenEye is probably one of my favorite Bonds. Not just because of the game, because of the gaming experience, but because it was probably one of the coolest stories that came out of it. And I mean, Zenyatta, great. Boris Badrunov. Badrunov. I forget his last name. Was it Grushenko? Boris Grushenko? I am invincible. Anyway, uh, that's what's great about the Bond stuff. Great characters. Um, So far, what I'm seeing from Skyfall, I absolutely love. I have to say that I was hesitant towards Craig at first, before going to see Casino Royale, and the only reason I even gave it a chance is because I'm actually a huge fan of poker. Okay, and a lot of people don't see the suspense in poker and the subtleties and what kind of a story can be told around the poker table. But if you've actually taken the time and you sat down and played at a tournament, going from table to table, then you'd know it's the most one of the most nerve-wracking experiences you'll ever come across. So intense, and they they give us Casino Royale, or not Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, which I'm not the greatest fan of. It's certainly not in my top 10 Bond movies of all time. But that's the thing. There's so many Bond movies, and it seemed like everybody after Sean Connery was just trying to emulate Sean Connery. If they weren't trying to be Bond, they were trying to be Sean Connery doing Sean Connery's Bond, and I think that's the problem there. I mean, if if Pierce Brosnan was Bond when he was supposed to be Bond, because at the time, when they wanted Pierce Brosnan to be Bond, he was still on Remington Steele, and there was these ridiculous rules that he wasn't allowed wearing a. I think they all did. They all had this ridiculous rule where you weren't allowed wearing a tuxedo on any other show. It was kind of the signature thing, or any other program, any other TV series, any other movie, whatever that wasn't James Bond or James Bond licensed. So, being that he was on Remington Steele, it would be essentially the same character, so they didn't give it to him. But if they did, I think he would have been a better Bond then than he was when he became Bond. Um, as it stands, the trailers for Skyfall are incredible. I mean, Javier Bardem looks like a kick-ass villain, and I'm really happy that they got rid of the cue that's all about the laughs, the jokes for 10 minutes while he's on screen. They got a guy, Ben Whishaw, who first time I seen him was in Layer Cake. Layer Cake, if you haven't seen it, by the way, Matthew Vaughn, the guy that did Kick Ass. It was his first movie after having produced stuff like Snatch, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. He was Guy Ritchie's producer, and so he comes out with Layer Cake, starring Daniel Craig actually, and it had the same kind of feel as Lock, Stock, and Snatch. It was kind of humorous. It was a brick crime movie, and it was probably one of the coolest action movies that came out of the last decade. Um, but Ben Whishaw was so good in that, and then they put him out in Perfume. I was really hesitant towards that too, though the fact that Alan Rickman was in it kind of won me over. The reason I was hesitant towards that was Ben Whishaw. The main character in Perfume is supposed to be kind of hideous, and Ben Whishaw really isn't. But anyway, back to Q. I think the look of him, the fact that they're going to use him in the field a little bit. I believe I like that because that's pretty much what Q is. That's pretty much the way Q is meant to be. Um, it's kind of like the way that they use Q branch in Jeffrey Deaver's Carte Blanche novel. Uh, I like the way they did the entire company over in that the numbers stood for something. Um, and it's actually double O's in that, not two zeros and a seven. Um, but anyway, Skyfall. I think people are going to be won over with Skyfall. If you haven't seen the trailers for it, I mean, this looks like it's they did their action thing, and now they're mixing the action with a little bit more of the suave, sophisticated Bond. They're showing his evolution to Bond. He got his vendetta over with, and now he's coming in full force, which I really like. There's that scene in the trailer where he's jumping from an explosion, lands on the next part of the train, and he takes the time to fix his cuffs. That's Bond, and I was really happy to see that. I mean, that's classical Bond from the movies. Um, but I really don't see how people can be too upset with what's going on with the game. It's a tie-in for a movie. You don't get a lot of them that are too good. Most of the Spider-Man games were pretty good. I even like 3, even though it was a little bit too repetitive. But Amazing Spider-Man is a good game. Spider-Man 2 is regarded as the go-to tie-in game for movies. Um, but Bond's put out a good few of them. Most of them try to emulate the GoldenEye style. I like that this one, that 007 Legends, kind of leads up to Skyfall. You get to play through Moonraker and all these legendary historical things that are redone, tailor-fitted for a modern day. And then you get to play through the Skyfall. I just hope that they. My only thing is, I really hope that they don't abridge it too much. Because what is it, 10? 10 historical levels and then Skyfall, or is it 9 historical levels and then Skyfall? I don't know. Yeah. I just hope that they're long enough to maintain interest. So what I'm saying, it's Activision. It's I'm really hoping that we're not getting some kind of a Call of Duty experience with these levels where it's like 5-minute levels where you just run from cover to cover to cover to cover until you reach your goal, kind of thing. But that's that. So, Ray, read a book. I don't know what they taught you, where you came from. I don't know where you come from. You sound like you're from Jersey or wherever, but you look like, you're from McDonald Way, and you look like you could be Grimace's cousin. Um, and I'm not sure if Grimace's or his people are literate at all, but read a Bond book. If you'd like, I actually have a couple Bond books here. I can send them out to you. Just give me your address. Um, in fact, I'll send you one. I'll send you one of the older ones in a collection of the short stories, and I'll send you the new one, carte blanche, because I don't. I'm done with it. I don't need it anymore. It's a pretty good book. Um, so yeah, just message me. I'll send them to you. Um, if you know how to read. If not, fine. I get it. You'd prefer to watch movies. You're fat. You're lazy. All right. Anyway, thank you again for your time. Have a good one. And as always, feel free to get the discussion going down there. I don't get too many people making comments, but the regulars, you're always welcome. And you can feel free to private message me with anything at any time. All right, guys. Have a good one. Oh, and get better beer. It's shit.